Hello everybody, welcome to video 5 of Devolving the Vote. Today I'm looking at the third of the manifestos, the Labour Manifesto. And the next video will be the SNP Manifesto, which has finally come out. It came out about a week after the other major parties, so I've held back in these videos so I can put out a nice little rush in the one go. So, as I have done the past couple of times, let's start with the economy. Abolish youth unemployment in the next Parliament and create 250,000 jobs for the end of the decade. I'm sorry, can I just check something here? Right, this is the first policy that I've seen on this manifesto, and I think it's rubbish. It's nice to aspire to, but you will never, ever, ever get rid of youth unemployment. In fact, you'll never get rid of unemployment. There will always be someone somewhere without a job claiming benefits. It's the way this country's set up. So, if you can turn around and tell me exactly how, then that would be great. 10,000 work placements for unemployed young people through the new Scottish Future Jobs Fund. Well, I suppose it's a way of fulfilling the previous pledge, I suppose. A new Scottish living wage of at least £7.15 an hour beginning in the public sector. Why the public sector? There's cuts there, and there'll be more cuts to ensure they get that. It's a nice idea, but I really don't think someone could be achieved. I don't really think someone could achieve that in this financial climate. Definitely not. Guaranteed modern apprenticeship for every suitable qualified 16 to 18-year-old who wants one from 2013. Who wants one? Well, I suppose it's the most sensible policy they've had so far. At least they're not pushing something on someone. Double value of exports over the next decade. Okay, that's quite interesting, but how? Robust efficiency savings, including scrapping of Local Council of Economic Advisers and the Scottish Futures Trust. Department merging again. I'll be frank, I have no idea what these departments do, so I can't really explain them. I just thought the policy was interesting. Government funding to restart National Volunteering Scheme. Restart it? I didn't even know it started. Campaign to bring new Green Investment Bank headquarters to Scotland. This is something that all the parties seem to want. Good luck. Economic cabinet at the heart of government, drawing on business, trade union and voluntary sector experience. Well, this is nice to see, I have to admit that. Create up to 60,000 green jobs by 2015. Possible, but what about a green economy? That's the way you're going to get those green jobs. No fundamental reform of Scottish enterprise, but changes in priorities for the agency and Highlands and Islands enterprise retained as a separate entity. Well, that's good. Scottish enterprise seem to be doing the right thing, and it should be able to help more people. 5% of each government department's procurement budget set aside for innovation and drive down spending on consultants. Red tape reduction using red tape. Appoint a digital champion to bring forward a strategy to improve broadband. Why just a champion? Why not provide a whole department? Every party wants broadband expanded and utilised in Scotland, I noticed that. But put the resources in, for God's sake. Don't just give a digital champion who say, oh, that could work and that could work. Put the resources in and do the research yourself properly. It's the best way of doing it. No income tax increase above the rest of the UK during the next Parliament. The tartan tax. Haha. This is the first mention I've seen of this in the manifestos. Improve grid connections between Scotland and the rest of the UK and Europe. Well, the national grid infrastructure is over 50 years old now, and some of it would need improving, I suppose. New body, Energy Scotland, to drive forward plans to become a world leader and in the low carbon sector. I suppose you've answered my green set question to an extent, I suppose. Bodies come in to help drive it. 80% of energy to come from renewables by 2020. Slightly more reasonable target than the Lib Dems' 100% target by 2050. It would be tight to do so though, I think, under 9 years, but it's a better target and more achievable one. Renewable electricity generation opportunity for at least 10,000 homes. Mini wind turbines and solar panels for homes. Alright. How? Funding? You gonna do something for that? Tell us. Double the value of the Saltire Prize on renewable energy innovation to £20 million. Good incentive for innovation of green technology. I like that. Good idea. Plans for new nuclear power stations considered on merit in terms of safety. environmental impact and community views. Safety can be absolute in nuclear power, but look at Fukushima, one of the safest plants in the world, and have an earthquake and they go into meltdown. There's always going to be something. No new non-replacement fossil fuel power stations without effective carbon capture and storage systems. Well, we really shouldn't be using fossil fuel if we can help it. Well, we all drive petrol cars. Needs must, I suppose. Phase out diesel and petrol cars for government use, including ministerial cars, and replace them with greener hybrids. Lead the way. Yes, at least they can afford greener cars, unlike us. So why not utilise it and do it? 10,000 electric vehicle charging points by 2015. Well, there's not many at the moment. Good idea. It would help make electric cars more popular, and there's more opportunity to use them because there's more places to charge them. 10% of trips made by bike by 2020. Well, Scotland is improving its national cycle network, but could we get 10% by 2020? Be a bit of a health drive for that, I think. Explore restoration of Scotland's peatlands and support new tree planting. Well, forestry isn't being replaced, and this would be good to see. Make Visit Scotland lead tourism development agency and cut duplication within Scottish enterprise. Well, I thought that Visit Scotland was lead tourism development agency. Obviously not. Visit Scotland and Event Scotland to deliver See More Scotland campaign for visitors to events like Commonwealth Games. I like that, that's nice. Repair those who dig up the roads to repair surface tirelessly and to acceptable standards. Pothole repairs are the bane of people's lives, especially after this last winter. We get so many of them that are not properly repaired in the first place, so of course we get the first major cold snap, they come up again. Labour are going to be committed to deliver the Aberdeen Bypass, M8 Bayliston's Newhouse upgrade and the M74 Rafe Interchange upgrade. Well, these are busy stretches of roads. I have personal experiences with the Rafe Interchange, and the traffic light system is pretty flawed there, especially coming off this M74 from Glasgow. The traffic lights just go for about 3 cars through and then they stop, and it takes about 10 minutes to get down a slip road of 100 yards. Programme of continuous improvements to the A82, A1, A9, A77, A75, A95 and A96. Right, all important routes, so yes. Deliver new Forth Road Bridge and empower public to choose its name. Like the Clackmannanshire Bridge then. Consider all options for the ScotRail franchise, including public and not-for-profit models, and deliver free Wi-Fi and 3G mobile phone coverage as part of the next contract. I think the ScotRail network isn't too bad. A bit expensive, but not too bad. It'd be nice to have 3G and Wi-Fi in there. Reinstate the Glasgow Airport rail link. Well, this was cut by the SNP government due to cost in the last Parliament, so it'll be nice to see if they can get that back up and running. Not sure though. Specialised training for up to 1,000 teachers to boost literacy and numeracy standards. The 3 R's aren't that good then, eh? No upfront or back-end tuition fees for Scottish students. Keeping in line with Lib Dem's policy then, I see. Allow pupils to choose vocational subjects when making subject choices at S1 or S2, and establish first-class fund to help schools boost vocational education. There is a leaning towards academic subjects in choices in Scotland. There's a little more than... So that suggestion is a little bit more like the English GCSE model, where they get a wider choice of vocational subjects they can take. Scrap Scottish Futures Trust and explore all funding options to improve school buildings. PPP, or Private Public Partnership of Rebuilding of Scotland's Schools, has been costly. There's a better way of doing it. Then, let's go for it. Zero tolerance approach to illiteracy and innumeracy, and I can't even say those words, so I'm just as bad. Zero tolerance? I hope that's in a good way. It's not a case of, you can't read, you bad people. You should read or you should go to jail. Hope it's not like that. Work towards 2 hours quality PE in every school. Is that every week? Is that every day? Is it every month? When? Introduce Commonwealth Legacy Schools following the Glasgow Games. Well, the Commonwealth Games has an opportunity here to install sporting prowess in Scottish children and athletes. It's a good idea. No compulsory redundancies for NHS staff for protection for the health service budget. Well, that's a ring fence, isn't it? So it's not really working down south so far, what I found. Review NHS bonus schemes, performance-related pay and merit and distinction awards. Well, this is costing too much, why not? Right to see cancer specialists and get results within 2 weeks by 2015, halving the current waiting time. Could it be done quicker? Well, I suppose that's a start. Free swimming lessons for primary school children? Well, I never learned to swim at school. Some schools did take their kids in lessons, but mine probably didn't because they couldn't afford it, so that'd be nice to see. Maintain A&E services at Monklands and Air hospitals. Whoa, this is a change for the books, because Labour were starting to put plans into action on scrapping them when they were last in power in 2007. So are they seeing the follow of their ways, that it wasn't such a good idea at the time, and the SNP have been right to reinstate it? Abolish hospital parking charges, possibly through PPP-owned and managed car parks. It's ridiculous being an outpatient, because it costs you so much in parking alone. So if you're waiting to get treated, you know, the parking charges just spiral up. So it'd be nice to see free parking again for a service that really is free. No reintroduction of prescription charges in Scotland. Well, looks like Labour have seen it as a good idea by the SNP then. Limit the permitted levels of caffeine in pre-mixed alcoholic drinks linked to antisocial behaviour. What, like Buckfast? Well, how will the makers of these drinks fare? I mean, wholly their fault. It's down to the way it's promoted by their promoting companies. Tighten up the loopholes in legislation to prevent tobacco advertising on merchandise. Well, advertising tobacco is banned outright, at least I thought it was, so closing any loopholes would be good. It's really reinforcing the law, I suppose. Consult on the ban on smoking in cars carrying child passengers. How can you police that? There's so many cars on the road, and there's so many people out there who have kids in the back and the parents smoke. How on earth are you going to justify that? How are you going to track that? You're not going to stick little mini cameras like this webcam in freaking all the cars, are you? Give me a concrete way of how you're going to police that, because that seems a stupid policy. It really does. Protect police officer numbers. Well, I suppose it's difficult, but it can be done. A 6-month mandatory minimum jail sentences for knife carrying. This is a problem, knife crime, because it is such an easy weapon to obtain. You just pull out the kitchen drawer and off you go. So, anything to help deter it, but will that do it? Don't know. Repeal dangerous plans to scrap the use of short-term prison sentences. Well, scrapping short-term prison sentences is an idea being looked at to help alleviate the squeeze on prison numbers, because the prisons are getting pretty full to brim at the moment. Create a single national police force and single fire service. They're big enough as they're regional, they're effective enough as regional. I don't see the need for nationalising it apart from saving cost. Pilot the use of GPS satellite tracking technology for serious sex offenders when released from prison. They've got tagging, so the technology is more or less there to take this to the next level. So I think it's doable, definitely. Roll out park ASBOs and introduce drink banning orders. I thought it was illegal already to drink in the street. But ASBOs? They haven't worked before. Give me strength. It's a badge of honour for these sort of people. It's not a bad thing. For them, it's a badge of honour. Support community payback for offenders with local people deciding on nature of work. Good idea. But will it make the offenders stop offending because they know they've got responsibility through the community, because the community's decided what their penalty would be? Crack down on problem neighbours by linking short-term tenancies to tenancy agreements so that unacceptable behaviour can lead to eviction. I have a friend who's had an issue with that, and eviction is the problem, not the tenancy, because it's very hard to evict problem people. Legislation requiring private landlords to act against antisocial residents. Hey, they've got something they can work with now, so just saying you're out. Some legal framework seems to be coming in. A wide-ranging review of legal aid. Well, legal aid is a good system to allow everyone to use the justice system. There are plans of reviewing it on who gets it and how much they get. It would be nice to see what they're reviewing or what they want to plan to review on the legal aid side. Freeze council tax for the next 2 years with no above inflation rises thereafter. One that seems to be a recurring theme with the parties. Everyone so far has mentioned something about council tax in that respect. Support communities to take ownership of derelict land or rundown properties and empty homes partnership to bring Scotland's 25,000 long-term empty homes back into use. So the 25,000 long-term empty houses. Surely there's more homes than that, but yes, that's a policy that seems to be coming up again. I like it, it's a nice idea. End fuel poverty by 2016. Well, invest in cheaper, greener fuel technology then, and you might get cheaper bills, which means there won't be fuel poverty. Cut higher earner pay in the public sector, starting with 5% reduction in all ministerial salaries. 5% reduction? Is that really that much for ministers, considering that's middlemen that need the cuts to be taken off them? Ministers are at the top of the tree where the work is probably justified by the pay, so why should they take the cut? But then again, I suppose it is lead by example. End the unjust situation that has seen gay men previously prosecuted for consensual acts continue to suffer prejudice long after offences have been decriminalised. Well, that is unjust. There should be equal rights. Being gay or lesbian has been legal for over 40 years, so why we need to get over the stigma and make it, just part of normal life. Consult on genuine equality for same-sex couples by addressing the different status of civil partnership and marriage. Well, that's all in the name. Marriage. That's what people want. Marriage. Not civil partnership, but marriage. Modernise library services to expand the provision of superfast broadband and e-book lending. Well, libraries have taken the role on of giving internet access to a great new level. E-books are growing, and it's only right that libraries expand to allow this demand to be met, because a lot of people will want to borrow e-books, not just as necessarily buy and purchase them. Protect free admission to galleries and museums. What party wants to see that lost, so far? Well, there we are. That's the Labour Manifesto. I don't think it's as long, actually, the points this time. But I have one big party to go, which is the SNP. So until then, see you later.